Do you feel unworthy of love? Do you feel like you're not enough for your twin flame? Do you feel like you're undeserving of divine love? This is the thing. Our unworthiness wound is the biggest one, and it keeps cropping up, and it keeps bringing us back down. But you have to know that what you feel about yourself is what your twin flame is going to feel about you too. So if you embody self-love, they can love you as well. So it all starts with you. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialize in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is the thing. You are worthy of love. You've always been worthy of love. And the only reason that you think differently is because of your childhood and because of past relationships. And this is the core of the problem. We have to get down there. We have to reparent our inner child, and we have to learn how to embody that love ourselves. And this is so important. Everything keeps triggering us. Everything keeps coming up. The reason we're triggered, the reason all of this stuff from our past is coming up is to show you what you need to heal. But you have to start remembering you are not your childhood, and you're not your past relationships. You are a pure, gentle soul. You really are. You have divine love already within you. You already embody that. But because of our past, we keep saying to ourselves, I'm not good enough. I'm not deserving. I'm not worthy. And this is the biggest one. It comes up again and again and again, over and over. It's our biggest fucking wound. It's our abandonment wound, our rejection wound, all mixed into one. We're literally feeling like we don't deserve them and that we're not good enough. So we take the behavior, we take everything that's going on, and we literally enhance how we feel about ourselves, which is making us worse. And I went through this lately myself. Not lately. On and off throughout my journey, I've gone through it. But it cropped up again. And for me, what I did, I ended up self-sabotaging. And this is what happened. Like, I was in this energy of, I'm ugly, and I'm not good enough, and he's not coming back anyway. This is never going to fucking work out. So you know what? I'm just going to fucking eat. And that's what I did. I self-sabotage. I used to self-sabotage with food. And that was based on my childhood again. And I literally started, like, what we do when we self-sabotage is we have this vision of ourselves of being unworthy, of being ugly, of being unattractive, of being not good enough. And we create that. That's what self-sabotage is. Like, for me anyway, I end up creating the vision I have in my mind. And I started to put on weight again. And I started to put on really quickly. I was overeating to the extent where my tummy was fucking hurting. And I actually had to snap out of it, but I went back to my core wound. Why was I feeling the need to overeat? Why was I feeling, because I've had problems with food my whole life. I've self-sabotaged with food my whole life. And I yo-yoed the whole time with my weight. And I started to do it again. Really badly. Do you know what I mean? And I could never, I've had discipline with food before, on diets or whatever. But I've always fall back. I've always kind of reverted back. So I had to come to the core wound. And this is why this is for me anyway. It could be different for all of us. But we have a certain thing that we use as a way of reinforcing our unworthiness wound, a way of self-sabotaging ourselves. So for you, it could be drink or drugs or, overworking, being too busy. All this kind of stuff is a way that we self-sabotage ourselves, and we're not choosing ourselves. This is the thing. We don't choose ourselves because we don't think our twin is going to choose us. This is, I'm going to really hone in on this. It's our inner child wounding. For me, it was the feeling of unsafety. That was the loudest feeling I was getting lately. We've been working on that ourselves collectively at the moment, is that feeling of unsafety. So I finally, in 7 years, I finally have control over my food because I realized where it was coming from. It was my unsafety, my inner fucking child. My inner child only felt safe when I was young, when she was being fed, because it's the only time I got attention. Well, I felt like there was a certain time in my life, I'm not going to go into that. The only time I was seen was when I was being fed. And it was just like, other than that, I was crying and ignored. Do you know? And so food made me feel safe. And now I started to feel in pain. It's very unhealthy to overeat. It's as bad as drinking and taking drugs. And I was in pain, and I was starting to feel unsafe because of the food I was taking in. And I actually had to flip the switch, and I was like, okay, I'm no longer feeling safe when I eat. So I have to start to, I have to flip the switch. It's safer to eat less. So I have control over my food now. But what does this boil down to? My unworthiness. And that, I think we're all going through this collective energy anyway. So we're going through another bout of not feeling good enough, and we're sabotaging ourselves because of it. And this boils down to our, we keep saying it's our twin flame or what they're doing and what they're not doing. This is all coming down to your inner child. This is what's so important. Your unworthiness wound, it stems from your childhood. It stems from past lives as well, but it stems from your childhood, and it was enhanced during your toxic relationships. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, we felt unsafe as children, we felt unseen as children, we felt neglected as children, and we felt unloved as children. And, you know, people will say to me, I had a good childhood, that there was nothing wrong. No. There's little things that just happen. You don't have to be physically abandoned by a parent in order to feel unsafe or feel neglected or feel abandoned. Your parent could have been angry, violent, substance abuse issues. You know, you could have had your parents could have stayed together, but there could have been, you know, a lack of affection. These are all ways our abandonment wound and our unworthiness wound gets triggered. So, you know, we have to go back to the core, you know, and that's the thing with me with the food. That's why I mentioned it today. It's because I knew I was self-sabotaging, but I didn't know why. For me personally, I can't heal a wound unless I find the core of it. You know what I mean? Like, I can go through it over and over and over again, but if I don't sit with it and say, here, where the fuck does this come from? I'm never going to heal it. So I actually, and it's such a profound experience for me to actually finally get control over my food. And I know it's different now. As I said, I've tried to be disciplined with food before, but now it's different. I'm not controlled by the food anymore. I'm in control of what I intake now. And this is empowering because I realized the source of my problem. And the source of my problem was the feeling of unsafety. The feeling of unsafety led to my feeling of unworthiness, because I was never made to feel safe ever in my whole life. I feel safe now when I'm with my twin flame, but because he's my safe space. And, you know, some of my friendships now are really safe for me. But my whole life, I've never felt safe. I was always in my masculine energy. I was never in my feminine energy because I was the one kind of putting up the walls. I was like, I have to look after myself because no one else is going to look after me. And, you know, we don't need somebody to look after us, but it's nice to have somebody you can feel safe with. Do you know, and I've said this lately, I've been able to cry in front of my girlfriends now. And it's just like, to be able to ugly cry in front of someone, that's safety. And like, to feel a feeling of safety after feeling unsafe for my whole life, that's where we need to get. But if you're not choosing yourself, if you're not finding the core of your problems or sitting with it, you're never going to find that safety within, or, you know, end up choosing yourself. And this is the thing. The unworthiness and the feeling of unsafety and the feeling of abandonment, all those feelings are coming up, right? But we're sabotaging because we think that this is the fact. And we think that what we're feeling is what our twin flame is going to feel about us. But this isn't true. And what we need to start doing is embodying that worthiness first. Because what we feel, it's energy. So how you feel about yourself is how they're going to feel about you. And this is the thing. Me and my twin were back in separation when I was overeating again. You know, and this all happened in the space of 2 months, right? Like, literally, I started overeating. My tummy was swollen. Every morning I woke up, I was bloated because I was eating. I go to bed at 8, you know, about 9:30 on average every night. But I was eating between 6 and 9 o'clock continuously. You know, and I might have been eating healthy, but I was eating more. It wasn't even what the food I was eating. I wasn't eating sugar or anything like that. I was just eating in excess, and I was eating on things on top of each other, and I was overfilling. But my tummy was expanding and more. And within those 2 months, the switch flipped for me, and I reverted back, or I went forward into getting control over my food. I don't eat after 6 o'clock now. And I've seen a difference already. I feel healthier. But the energy I was in when I was self-sabotaging was this energy of, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. He's not going to come back anyway. I'm a piece of fucking shit, so what's the fucking point? This is the energy I was in, and the more I ate, the more I reinforced that. And it's funny because, it's not funny, like, you know, you're eating the food knowing this is how you're feeling, and it mightn't be conscious, but for me it was conscious. It was like, what's the fucking point? You know what I mean? I'm going to be on my own forever, so I'm just going to fucking eat myself into oblivion. But then it was more about my health than my appearance. But, you know, whatever it is, but the way I felt is, I don't feel like I'm attractive enough. I don't feel like I'm good enough. So I'm just literally going to embody what I feel. And if you're in the energy of feeling like a piece of shit, you're radiating that out. You know what I mean? Your twin flame isn't going to be attracted to you know, that energy. And like when you're embodying this glow up energy, this self-love energy, this I know I'm worthy energy, this peacock unicorn energy, whatever you want to call it, you know, then they're going to literally vibrate back to you. But if you continue to feel like shit, you're literally going to repel everything around you. Because this is it, like, you know, when we're in this energy of, you know, this depression, this low self-worth. Like I remember years ago when I was like literally suffering from depression as a teenager. But I used to walk the streets with my head down and rest in bitch face. You know, and I was afraid to look at anyone. I was afraid to talk to anyone because I was like, you know, speak when you're spoken to, you know, just all this. And I remember a few years later, some girls in the town turned around to me and goes, I was actually afraid to talk to you, like. And I was like, why? I'm the most nicest person in the world. But I was embodying this energy of, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And so therefore people were running rather than fucking coming towards me. So how do we expect our twin flame to come back if we're in the energy of, I'm putting this wall up, I'm staying in my bubble, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to fucking sabotage my whole life and just go away? That's effectively what you're saying. You're saying that I don't want you here because I don't feel good enough to have you here. And therefore your twin is going to hear that and go, okay, bye. Do you know what I mean? But whereas if you start to feel good, and you see, this is what flipped for me as well. I wasn't doing I wasn't getting healthy again for him. I was getting healthy for me. I was like, look, at the end of the day, right? He can come back or he can come back. But it doesn't matter whether he does or he doesn't. I'm going to literally put myself in an early fucking grave if I continue to overeat. This is not just about my appearance, it's about my health. And I was like, if I do not change for me, how do I expect him to change for me as well, in a sense? Do you get me? How can he choose me if I'm not choosing myself? So if I'm not making time for myself, if I'm not making time for my inner healing, if I'm not actually choosing myself to choose and choose to heal my body as well, then how the fuck do we expect our twin flame to choose us? You know, we're literally in this energy of, I don't matter, I don't give a shit, I don't care if I die tomorrow because I overeat. You know, if you're effectively literally, and this is for me, and this is why I keep going on about this. This is how I was doing it. You know, I don't drink, I don't take drugs, and I don't smoke anymore. But literally, I was literally sabotaging my health by eating. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm the embodiment of youthful energy. I want to stay young forever, which I will, if I look after myself. But if I'm literally sabotaging my life, I'm sabotaging me in my life, how do I expect my twin flame to ever come back in if I don't love myself enough to choose myself? So I choose and I've already been choosing myself every day anyway, because I give myself the time for self-care. I give myself the time to heal. I go into that introspection. And this is it. We need to start making ourselves a priority. Not just our health, not just our appearance, but how we feel internally. How do we fucking do this? We reparent our inner child. You know what I mean? We have to go back to that. We will only feel good about ourselves if our inner child feels good. We're literally walking around in this childlike energy. We're living our lives as a wounded child. That's effectively it, because we're still embodying the energy of our pained inner child. So like unless we heal them, we're never going to heal ourselves. You know, I never loved myself. I never even liked myself. There was a time in my life I couldn't even look in the mirror. And the only way I started to embody that self-love was by loving my inner child. When she felt love, when she felt safe, that's when I can start to love myself. And that's the thing, like, you know, that's when I sourced my food back to my inner child, was that she felt safe when she was fed because she felt like she was being seen when she was being fed. You know what I mean? But then it got to the other extreme. So then I started feeling unsafe. So my inner child started feeling unsafe again. So I had to start embodying that safety for her, creating that safety for her again, so that I felt safe myself. Now I'm back in my unicorn energy and I'm fucking happy out, like, you know, and I can feel myself feeling healthier again because I'm in control of that food. Like, you know, and I know, as I said, it can be any kind of substance or any kind of addiction or any kind of self-sabotage. What are you doing to avoid your growth? What are you doing to avoid your health? You know, what are you doing to, I suppose, enhance that unworthiness wound? Or are you looking within? Are you giving yourself that time? Are you choosing yourself? Because you can only be chosen by your twin flame, or they can only choose themselves as well if you choose yourself. And that's it, like, you know, and we have to choose ourselves first so that they feel in the energy of their worthiness. They're going through this as well. We're both twins are going through that feeling of unworthiness. So the only way our twin is going to mirror back the energy that we want is by embodying in ourselves. So that inner love, that love starts within. Do you know what I mean? It does. So start by reparenting your inner child, making them feel safe. That's the important thing. That's safety. And I think that was what it is for me, and that's what it was for me anyway when it comes to food. It's safety. We don't feel safe. And, I got so much clarity on this as well because I did a breathwork session. And, I was afraid, like, my twin was going to be unsafe again, or as well as the past people. But then I realized, I'm actually, if I feel safe in myself, I can feel safe with him. And I actually do really feel safe with him. I'm in my feminine energy now. But this is the thing. It all starts within. Make your inner child feel safe. Make them feel worthy. Tell them they're enough. And I promise you, like, this is it. You are deserving of love. You were born an unconditionally loving soul in a human being, in a human body. You have always deserved this love. You always have. You really always have. And you please start to believe that, because this is how we move forward. You know what I mean? Reassure your inner child that they deserve the love that they never got, and you will start to soon feel that as well. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help in your journey, please book me for a free discovery call today. Nothing more than 10 minute path. Also, I'm hosting a free Feminine Empowerment Workshop on the 10th of December at 6 p.m. Ireland UK time, where us ladies can get together and support each other. If you want information about that, please comment below. I also have another channel called Aligning with Angie, where I share a guided meditation every week. The info for that is in the description box.